Oh, Steve. He talked many times, everything. So,
Is he smart?
no, nothing.
Is he friendly?
No, nothing.
Is he handsome?
No. I look more better than him.
He's a jerk and he owes me 3,000 baht.
สตีฟไม่รู้เรื่องอ้วนเยอะกินข้าวได้
ไม่รู้เรื่องคุณสตีฟ
คุณสตีฟไม่รู้เรื่อง
เก่ง
ลุงติ๊บเหรอลุงติ๊บนิสัยไม่ดี มาชอบมาบ่นมาว่าที่นี่นิสัยไม่ดี
Steve Rosse เป็นยังไง
ไม่รู้เรื่อง สตีฟไม่รู้เรื่องเลย
Steve Rosse is a fucking wanker
Last week, I did not provide a monologue. Nobody seemed to miss it except me. So this week, we're going to have a monologue, but it's going to be brief because I'm on the beach. There's a big storm coming. It's black in the sky over there. So I'm going to make 3 points and I'm going to stop. I'm at Wat, if the camera will hold still, I'm at Wat Tasai. In Turtle Beach, which is a 100-year-old temple built right on the water, right on the beach. It's distinctive for a number of reasons. One being that all the icons inside the Wihan, inside the temple hall, the prayer hall, are made of polished marble. They're all white. There's no gold in there. People don't put gold on icons here in this part of Thailand. So it's all white in a dark teak building, and it's visually extremely striking. One of the other things that's notable is that on this campus at Wat Tasai, there's no iconography. There's no statues of the Buddha. There's no statues of Buddhist saints or hermits. Or lions or tigers or bears. There's nothing. There are cement 8-spoked wheels representing the perfect eightfold path that delineate the parking area. Wheels delineating the parking area. I think that's very clever. The only other iconography on this whole campus is this. This is Kuan Im. She is, in this iteration, the Hokkien Chinese goddess of mercy and compassion. She's a Buddhist bodhisattva that goes back 2,500 years. She started as male. She became, as Buddhism spread, she became female. And she looks different, of course, as the Buddha does himself, in China, Japan, Korea, Thailand, Laos, etc., etc. This iteration in this Thai temple that has no other sculptures is the Hokkien Chinese iteration. We know this because the sign, the plaque says she's Kuan Im. In Thai, I think it's Guan Yin, I forget the Thai word. She's also flanked by two what are called in English mistakenly Fu dogs. They are lions. They are guardian lions. They're always in pairs, male and female. The male has a ball representing the earth, his dominion over the earth. He represents the material world. The female has a cub. She represents nurturing the world of the spirit. Yin and yang, right? All of human experience in a single representation. That's Chinese. That's not Thai, right? Dragons and Fu dogs, that's Chinese. Thais would be a yak would be a statue of a giant holding a sword with tusks, right? This is Chinese. I am surrounded on Turtle Beach by Chinese iconography everywhere I go. I won't describe it to you here because the wind is about to blow the camera over and the rain is about to come down on me in buckets. But I'll show you video later of all the Chinese iconography around me. This place was settled 200 years ago by Chinese tin miners. They have kept much of their the things they brought with them, the baggage from China. I'm thinking of this because for some reason in my social media feed this week, there was a ton of complaint about the new influence of China in Thailand. New. I don't argue the influence, man. Yeah, they're spending tons of money here, most of it unwisely. I don't know anything about money, but buying a condo in Bangkok seems a very unwise thing to do, and they're buying them by the truckloads. But at any rate, it's not new. It's hundreds, thousands of years old. New. You guys are late. You're coming to the party late and woefully ill-prepared. This ties into the second thing I want to say. A guy in Phuket very kindly invited me into his home this week. Sweetheart of a guy. I love him to death. He's a new friend. But we sat down on these sofas and there's a table in front of us, a coffee table. And the dogs are checking me out. Like I ain't got enough problems in my life with the rain and the wind. Now the dogs are going to check me out. At any rate, this very nice guy invited me into his home. We sit down on these sofas. There's a coffee table. There's a Buddha, a seated Buddha figure. I think it was meditation pose or suppressing Mara, one of those two. You know, real common, a cheap trinket. But it's on the coffee table, crotch height. There's no way two Falang sitting there are not going to spread our legs and show our crotch to the Buddha. And then when you cross your legs, your foot, the sole of your foot, is pointed right at this Buddha. And it kind of weirded me out a little bit. But I said something, I mentioned it, and he didn't seem to take much notice, so I didn't press it. But in light of my reaction to the criticism of new Chinese influence, and my reaction is, yeah, but Quan Im, you know, thousands of years. The Thais who live here are Thais just like all other Thais. They walk like Thais, they talk like Thais, they sit like Thais, they shit like Thais, they sing like Thais, they screw like Thais, they do everything like Thai people. Whether or not Quan Im is in the front yard, whether or not Buddha's on the coffee table, or where he should be on a shelf over your head, he's not a bowl of fruit. Right? You wouldn't put a crucifix on the coffee table, would you? Jesus on the cross, bleeding with the crown of thorns on the coffee table as a conversation piece. Yeah, it's a knickknack I picked up at a tourist spot in Mexico. You wouldn't do that. But even so, does it really matter? I left that guy's house, and on my way to the bus stop, there were like 3 shishi expensive furniture stores, because the place is all condos, expensive condos and villas. All these foreigners coming and they have to furnish their place. And all these stores are selling bodhisattvas, big concrete kinari, Buddhas, Shivas, figures from the Ramakien. And down the street, the Thais are wearing the American Confederate flag, the Confederate battle flag, on a t-shirt. They used to wear swastikas on t-shirts here. I don't know if they still do, but like, does it matter anymore? Right? It's a thing, it's an object. Whatever value I imbue it with, does it really matter to that guy? He's happier here than I am, by far. The guy who invited me to his house, he's happy as a clam. I still got angst. I've been here 5 months, I still got angst. You know, every now and then I don't sleep. Every now and then I sleep too much. So does it really matter? Last point, and I'll leave you alone, I swear. This week on social media, a guy named Kevin, I don't know who he is. He's from Chiang Mai, I guess. I don't know, some guy. some troll on the web. He called me an effing American asshole. And I will cop to the asshole. Yeah, you're right, Kevin. But you're not the first person to say it. And it's really like picking low-hanging fruit. That's the obvious, right? Everybody can tell you that about Steve Rosse. It's not a big discovery. The effing, well, I try whenever I can, right? So I'll give you that one. I'll own that one. But using American, the adjective American, as an insult doesn't work, Kevin. My 4 grandparents worked like hell to become Americans. They were very proud of that. There was never any question of going back to Lithuania. Their whole family was wiped out by the Cossacks. There was no question of going back to Poland, right? There was no nostalgia for Europe at all. None of us were taught Lithuanian. None of us were taught Russian. No, they got to America. They became Americans. They assimilated. I'm an American because they worked their whole lives to make sure their grandchildren would be Americans. I'm an American. I'm proud to be an American. I have problems with certainly what's going on in America right now, but I have problems with what went on in America in 1865. This is nothing new. Your country has problems too, dude. Everybody in the UK has got an opinion about the new prime minister, right? It's not just my country. So that part doesn't work, Kevin. None of it works, really. Yeah, I'm an effing American asshole. Yeah. All right, that's it. Thank you for your patience. Like, subscribe, and please share. And yeah, I'll see you next week.
In a remote corner of our Earth stands the little kingdom of Siam, one of the last of the world's absolute monarchies, where 10 million people live their lives in partial seclusion from the outside world. En route to Bangkok, the chief city of this ancient country, we pass a Chinese junk, which reminds us that most of the early settlers in Siam came from Mongolia, a province in China.
A fish market. There are freshwater fish from the rivers and saltwater fish from the Gulf of Siam. Here, as elsewhere in the city, most of the merchants are Chinese. Most of the customers and workers are Thais. The pharmacies of Bangkok are, on the one hand, much the same as anywhere, providing most of the modern drugs in use. But in the same shop, one will also find the ancient remedies of Asia, mostly Chinese in origin. Scraped deer horn for strength, all manner of ancient remedies, strange by Western standards. For poor circulation, dried lizard. And always in every Chinese shop, that ancient adding machine, the abacus. Lai Wung is a Chinese refugee here in Bangkok without a passport or visa. He makes a living as a street peddler. Lai Wung sells puddings, which he makes himself. Lai Wung could afford a better home, but he wants to save. He wants to succeed in Bangkok. He's determined never to return to China.